Pastor Toby's cooking show. We're gonna make some unleavened bread. We're using the recipe by Luther Seminary. And so we've already gathered our stuff because watching us trying to measure this, you don't need to see the mess. Yes.
And it's pretty boring.
And it's pretty boring. So I'm gonna make sure I've got all the right stuff here. We need 1 cup of whole wheat flour. So the wheat flour, you can go ahead and put that in, Seth. Okay.
I would also make sure it's like almost exact by using a knife and then like spreading like
going across the top.
Yeah.
That's right.
That is a really good way to make sure you measured it right.
Now we have 1/2 cup of regular white flour. All right. The other dry ingredients we have is 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder.
No, I don't know about. Yeah, I think that's almost exact.
Thank you.
Almost is pretty much good enough.
And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Just salt. So.
Well, maybe just like any salt, maybe.
Yeah,
I think it might be that.
And that's gonna be close enough. So now we washed our hands really good before we started. So
20 seconds. Or you can see the alphabet or something like that.
Now I am gonna put Seth in charge of mixing this. Now it says that we're supposed to sift it 3 times. I don't have a sifter, and the key is to make sure that you get, like, our baking powder gets kind of chunky, so it's just making sure that we find all those little chunks and crush them up. So you work on that really well. The next part that we need to get together, we need 1/2 cup plus 3 tablespoons of very hot water. So I'm going to go ahead and let this water heat up. And we're going to add to that 1½ tablespoons of honey and 1½ tablespoons of molasses. And then mix those up really, really well. So that's why the water needs to be good and hot, so that the honey and molasses can mix in really well. All right, so 1/2 cup. That's too much. Plus 3 tablespoons. I don't know why this exact, but it works. So there we are. 1, 2, 3. All right, how you doing, babe?
I haven't seen very many white chunks.
Good.
And if I've seen them, they're pretty little.
All right, we need 1½ tablespoons of both of these. In the meantime, 3rd grade humor. In the meantime, we did preheat the oven to 350 degrees.
And I think it's done.
Yes, it's all ready to go.
Nice.
So I need another 1/2 tablespoon. I'm just gonna eyeball this. Maybe. All right, I'll come back to that. Can do this too.
And the molasses.
So 1½ tablespoons of molasses.
Yeah, I wish it was one of those pump ones.
A pump one?
Yeah,
like that?
Yeah.
I don't know that would make any difference. So we're getting this all ready so that we can have unleavened bread for our Maundy Thursday service. So when you gather for the service, I'm going to encourage you to gather around the table around a simple meal and have some bread and something to drink there with you, so that when we celebrate the meal, you've got the meal there in front of you. Whether you have unleavened bread or regular bread or
any type of bread,
flatbread, crackers, you use what you've got. Because communion, Holy Communion, is not about what it is, but what it means. And it is about God's presence in the midst of all of that. All right, so we are going to stir that in really well. I'm gonna see how Seth did here. I'm making sure we're all stirred up really good. Now we also need to add 2 teaspoons, I did need a teaspoon. 2 teaspoons of olive oil to the flour mixture.
And
So there's 1,
that's kind of when it gets into the.
2.
It looks like a lot. It looks like a yellowish green when it's in that tablespoon. But when it's in the bowl, it looks more brown. Weird stuff.
It's weird stuff. It's not gonna mix in, and that's not really the point. So don't expect it to get all mixed in nice. It's just sort of there.
Yeah,
Once you get all that done and all of this is ready, you're going to you're going to pour this in and mix it up.
And then it turns into something gooey.
It is a bit gooey.
And then it starts smelling like communion bread.
Then it starts smelling like communion bread, he says. Why don't you get your nose out of it, please? Thank you.
I haven't sneezed yet.
Oh, I'm so glad you haven't sneezed yet.
At least it's not in the bowl.
Yeah, well, at least I guess we're not sharing this with anybody. I guess since you'll make your own, you don't have to worry about Seth sneezing in the bread dough. All right, so we're almost mixed up. You want to get it good.
Try not to see any of that.
You don't want to see the flour?
Yeah, you don't want to see the
you don't
dry.
want to see the flour.
You don't want to see the crumbs.
All right. Seth, why don't you go grab the pan? Now on the pan, we went ahead and used a parchment paper.
Olive oil might work too.
Okay, set it up here.
And put it right here.
And we're going to divide the mixture into 2. And why don't you go wet your
there's 2
hands?
stations. That means we have to have 2 breads.
So go wet your hands, because here's the key thing about this. It is really sticky. And if you've got a little water on your hands, it makes it easier to form.
Woo, that's hot.
Sorry. It's easier to form it into a circle. So you're going to form it into a circle. It'll be about 1/4 inch thick.
You know, that's the good thing about parchment paper. You can kind of measure it.
My little helper has all the instructions. All right, it's not going to be a perfect circle. If you have to wet your hands again, just to get things to work.
I kind of want to put in like an imprint.
No. All right, and then the last thing you do before you put it in the oven is to take a knife. Any knife will do. And you're just gonna score it. Now, you can score a cross into it, you can score it into 8 pieces. We're gonna do just a simple cross, real lightly. You don't want it to go through. It doesn't matter if it does, but you just do it really lightly. And then
you might even use like so maybe like a knife that doesn't really have a blade.
Like a butter knife or table knife. Yep, go ahead and put it back.
Butter knife would be pretty much the best.
Okay, so we're gonna put it in the oven for 10 minutes. When we take it out after that, we're just gonna do a light spray of olive oil, like the Pam spray. So we just use an olive oil non-stick cooking spray. Spray real lightly over the top, and then put it back in for about another 5 minutes, and then you can let it cool. And then that is your unleavened bread. So I hope that you enjoy your bread and that you enjoy making it. Thank you.
Okay.